All right, going over the lesson 24 homework, continuing with Memorial Day. This image is amazing. This is Washington crossing the Delaware. If you guys don't know the story behind that, you may or may not have been taught that in your history classes, but the Revolutionary War stuff is unbelievable. Like, it's crazy. And I wasn't ever a big history person when I was in high school, but now that I'm older, I totally appreciate what people like this guy did. This crossing of the Delaware was a pretty cool story. You should probably read into that if you haven't or don't know about it. It's pretty neat. So here are the solutions to the lesson 24 homework. They're right here. I'm going to go over 31 and 33 because they're a little trickier. I wrote down the decimal answers of some of these. If you got the decimal answer, that tells me you just used the calculator. Again, I'm okay with that, but you need to understand the concept of how fractional exponents work. So I'd appreciate if you try not to use the calculator. So like for number 23, 1/10 is the same as 0.1, but if you got 0.1, that tells me you just used a calculator. I'd like you to try to get these answers in fractional form. It's going to be helpful when we move forward with exponential equations. All right, so to finish off going over the lesson 24 homework, continuing with the Memorial Day theme, got the Twin Towers in the background. You guys, let's see, 2001, you weren't born yet, but you probably know about 9/11. It was a terrible day. A lot of soldiers lost their lives since then fighting this battle. So shout out to them. But anyways, so here are the two that I want to go over. Number 31, 4 to the negative 3 halves. Remember, raising something, drop the marker, raising something to a negative exponent means it's going to turn into a fraction. So this is going to turn into 1 over, pick the marker that doesn't, right. Why wouldn't I pick the wrong marker? Okay, so 4 to the negative 3 halves is the same as 1 over 4 to the 3 halves, positive, because that's what fractional exponents do. So now we just got to figure out what 4 to the 3 halves is. To figure out 4 to the 3 halves, 4 to the 3 halves is the same as 4 to the 1/2 raised to the third. Raising something to the 1/2 power is the same as square rooting it. So the square root of 4 is 2. And then 2 to the third is 8. So this is going to turn into 1 over 8. It's going to be 1 over because of the negative exponent. This one, trickiest question on the homework, you have to remember that this negative 4 is not in parentheses, right? So only the 4 is being raised to the 5 halves. And then we'll attach the negative to the answer when we're done. So you can think of it like this. The negative of 4 to the 5 halves. Think of it that way. So let's figure out what 4 to the 5 halves is. That's going to be the same as 4 to the 1/2 raised to the 5th. All right, so raising 4 to the 1/2, which is the same as we just did up here, it's going to be 2 because it's square rooting 4. And 2 to the 5th power. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Raising 2 to the 5th power. Multiply 2 by itself 5 times. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32. This is going to turn into 32, but remember there's a negative out in front of the whole thing. So the final answer is going to be negative 32. Had this been in parentheses, things would have been different, but it's not. So we have to take care of the exponent first, attach the negative when we're done. So negative 32 is our final answer. If you have questions about any of the others, email me, let me know.